It's time for Seminole basketball. This is the Leonard Hamilton Show, presented by AT&T. Sponsored by AT&T. Get it faster with 4G. Rethink possible. Coke Zero. Enjoy a refreshing jump shot to the taste buds. An icy cold Coke Zero. Fresh from Florida Gulf Seafood, proud sponsor of the Florida State Seminoles. And by SunTrust, the official bank of the Florida State Seminoles. And now your hosts, Gene Deckerhoff and head coach Leonard Hamilton. Hello, Seminoles, and welcome to the Leonard Hamilton Show, presented by AT&T. Gene Deckerhoff, along with head coach Leonard Hamilton. And coach, the season is here. It's upon us, in our very first television show of the year, and we've got a lot to talk about today.
Well, no doubt, we played an awful lot of games in a short period of time.
Yeah, we played 14 games before we get into conference play. And all of the games we're going to talk about today are non-conference games. And, Coach, we play some ranked teams. We play some unranked teams. We play on the road. We play in the tropics in the Bahamas. What a schedule we had here in December and November.
We've had a very challenging schedule. There's no doubt about that. And we've had some moving parts on our team. But I believe that the competition that we faced up to this point will make us much more prepared for the ACC race.
Getting ready for ACC basketball competition, the #1 conference in the country. It's always that way year in and year out. And Coach, I think we're ready for ACC play, don't you?
I think we're ready.
All right. Coming up, highlights of a lot of basketball games. We'll take you to the Bahamas. We'll take you up to frigid East Lansing, Michigan, and then come back home to the friendly confines of the Donald L. Tucker Center, where the Noles are going to take care of business on home court. All that on our show today. We invite you to stay tuned. Welcome back to the Leonard Hamilton Show, presented by AT&T, and we promised you an awful lot of basketball highlights. And Coach, we're going to go straight to the videotapes and go down where you can take a swimsuit and enjoy the tropical Bahamas in the Battle for Atlantis tournament.
That was an outstanding tournament. We really enjoyed the atmosphere and the surroundings. It was a very festive event, very well attended, very well organized. I hope they invite us back again sometime.
A different sort of an arena to play in, but the scenery is spectacular outside. Inside, the business at hand is to win basketball games. We begin the battle for Atlantis against the University of Massachusetts.
Well, they're a very good basketball team. They're going to have a good year. I thought our guys were mentally and emotionally ready to play. We defended very well. We shot the ball well. It was a game that we got out early, and we were able to keep the lead for the entire game.
Bernard James with an offensive putback, and he's having a heck of a career. A senior in his second year as a leader inside, and he gets the entry pass inside and knows what to do with it.
Well, that was a dunk, and anytime you can put the ball back with that in the basket with that type of authority, it makes the game easy for you.
One of 9 blocks in the game ignites a fast break. Luke Laux, your leading point guard.
Well, Luke's has gotten off to a good start as well. He's given us great leadership this year. We've played some tough competition, and I think that his best basketball will be ahead of him.
Funny we talk about Luke, and there he is talking to you on the sidelines. 12 points, 4 steals, and 3 assists in 34 minutes for Luke Laux against UMass.
Davis knocks down the jumper. He's been a little inconsistent this year, and hopefully he'll catch on fire here as we move into ACC competition.
After a 20-point win over UMass, we stub our toe against Harvard. We're taking on the defending national champion UConn Huskies here in day 3 in the battle for Atlantis.
Well, that was a game where we fought very hard. We got right down to the end of the game. It seemed as though we couldn't finish the game with free throws, and unfortunately we came up short. But I thought we showed a lot of character in that game. Not totally 100%, but we were not able to finish the game. But I think it really said a lot about our team that we're capable of playing with some of the top teams in the country.
Xavier Gibson, a 6'10", 6'11", shows he can shoot the perimeter jump shot.
Well, Xavier knocked that jump shot down. There's no doubt about that. But now he's starting to play a lot better inside.
Florida State trying to get the ball inside. And Michael Snare is the leading scorer on this team. And you look to Michael I know you don't have a go-to guy, but Michael Snare may come as close to that as you can say, can't you?
Well, I'm not saying we don't have a go-to guy. I just think that this team needs all of its parts working well in order for us to be successful. And unfortunately, Michael missed that shot that maybe would have made the difference in the game as we finished toward the end there. But here again, once again, we came up short. It was a very tough competition for us. Unfortunately, we were not able to pull it out. I thought our guys fought real hard.
Had one more look at it, three-point try would have won it, just off to the right, and UConn, the defending national champions, hangs on to win in our first overtime game of the season. A good trip to the Bahamas for the team?
Very good, because the competition was good. Anytime you're playing against that type of competition, regardless of where you're home or on the road, you can't do anything but learn and grow from it.
Didn't have to take suntan lotion to East Lansing. They had an early snowstorm. I've never seen as much snow on the ground as we saw at East Lansing, and it was hot inside, though.
Well, I thought they have a lot of rich tradition there. They're very well coached. They're loaded with talent. They really played a good basketball game. And I felt that we played maybe 28 minutes of good basketball there. And when you're on the road against a talented team, you got to play for the full 40 minutes, and we came up a little short.
Yeah, Florida State getting the ball inside against a team that's very physical. Michigan State just comes right after you, don't they?
Well, they're a very good basketball team, complete. They have good guards. They have great interior players. And once again, we were there right in a position to win, to compete for the game. But we had about 4 or 5 possessions where we did not execute well. They got out on us, went up 10, and it was very difficult for us to catch up.
Bernard James with a double-double, 13 points, 13 rebounds. He hung with those big, tough kids of Michigan State inside. We just couldn't put them away in the second half. They were too much.
Well, they played better than we did in that particular game. They executed better, they rebounded better, and we came up a little short.
Florida State on the short end of the score, Coach, in East Lansing, Michigan. But the good news is we got to pack our bags, head back to the sunny south, and the Spartans have to stay up there where there was about 8-9 inches of snow on the ground. Up next, highlights from Florida State Princeton, the Seminoles' first ever triple overtime game. Those highlights are next. Welcome back to the Leonard Hamilton Show, presented by AT&T. And Coach, it's not very often you get involved in an overtime game, let alone a double overtime game, but triple overtime games are about as rare as they come. Have you ever been involved in a triple overtime game?
Well, I'm sure at some time in my career we have, but this was a very, very hard-fought game by both teams. They got off to a good start. We dug a hole for ourselves in the first half. We had to keep climbing out of it in the second half. Our guys had fought very hard. And we found a way to put ourselves back in a position to have a chance to win the game. In the first part of the game, we were about as inept on the offensive end in terms of execution as we've been all year. We got Ian Miller back into the fold, and he's trying to get himself back into some type of rhythm. He's a welcome addition. The first half, we didn't defend very well offensively. We didn't execute very well. We fought back in the second half, put ourselves in a pretty good position. Just came up short once again by missing some very key free throws when the game was on the line.
I'm going to say Ian Miller with a three-point play. He led the Seminoles with 17 points in the ballgame in scoring, but free throw shots made were very rare in this ballgame, maybe about as poorly as we've shot free throws in ages.
Well, it's interesting that we've lost a couple of games at the free throw line. I still believe, though, we'll learn from this. I think we'll be better as a result of putting ourselves in a position and knowing what it's like to have the pain of not playing very well. Hopefully that will motivate us to play even better as we move through the rest of the season.
Speaking about playing better, Coach, we're down 17 points at halftime. We're going to outscore Princeton by 17 points in the second half. We put together an outstanding 20 minutes of basketball.
Well, it shows what we're capable of doing when we all are playing on the same page. Great pass, great penetrating, and handoff by Luke Laus to Xavier Gibson. We have to have more of those out-of-bounds play that we was able to score. We just kept eating into the lead. I thought our body language, the intensity that we played with, the effort that we played with was outstanding to come from 17 down against a good basketball team. But we had dug such a hole for ourselves, and in college basketball, you have to play for full 40 minutes, and I felt like we just came up short on that end. Hopefully we grew up. And if that loss is going to inspire us to not ever want to put ourselves in that position again, then hopefully we will get the residual effects of that negative feeling that we got from that game for the remainder of the year.
Defense leads to offense, and Florida State's going to put together a tremendous finish to this ball game. Nice assist. Luke Laus finds the open guy. You're going with a 3-guard offense now and 2 big guys underneath it. It looks like the big guys are comfortable.
Well, we're much more in sync that way with this team. Last year we won with size. This year we have to get a little smaller, have a little bit better, more ability to execute. Here's the call right with nice shot fake, knocking down 2 points that we really, really need as the game was winding down.
Now a chance to tie the game in the final minute, and a flush on an offensive rebound by Xavier Gibson. That ties the ball game, Coach.
Well, just having an end on the floor that was able to break the game down, break the his man down, get into the lane, draw the defenders to him, and put it up on the glass to give Xavier an opportunity to tip it in was something that's been missing from our team.
Tie game 47-all, and the first overtime battle at either end of the court. Low-scoring first overtime period.
Well, it was a low-scoring game. They're an excellent basketball team. They were very well prepared for our game. There's no doubt that we put ourselves in position to win. But once you dig a hole for yourself, it's very hard against any college basketball team to come back. Unfortunately, we came up short, but I think it really set the table, for the remainder of the season.
Michael Snare getting hot in the overtime period, had been held to single digits in the first half, and a nice steal, good anticipation by Ian Miller, and he goes coast to coast. 17 points, Snare led the team with 20 points in the ballgame.
Well, just having the ends 15, 20 points, 17 points in the game, that was an overtime game was very, very important. And it's really making us a better basketball team.
Second overtime game of the season, but the first ever triple overtime now, and we go to the third 5-minute extra session. Coach, basketball is a sport that just takes a toll on your body. How can you play 15 more minutes of basketball at the level we play at?
Well, we didn't play very hard the first half, so I thought we had a lot of energy in our tank. But on the serious side, it is a very taxing game. But it's a lot more mental, I think, than sometimes people realize. When you're playing the game, things happen so fast. You have to make decisions going full speed. Unfortunately, when you make good decisions, life is good. When you don't make good decisions with the ball, sometimes you can come up on the short end of the stick, and that's what happened to us against the Princeton team that played very well.
History made at the Donald L. Tucker Center, the first ever triple overtime game. We come up just a little bit short to a very good Princeton team that has had great success in the Ivy League. They've won 26 championships up there.
They have a lot of tradition. They have an excellent system that we did not compete well against. They spread the floor. They took their time. They moved the ball, made the extra pass. They did some made some backdoor cuts on us. And when the game was on line, they hit every big shot down the stretch. We didn't defend very well. They deserved to win the game.
That Princeton game, the final game in calendar year 2011, and what a difference the turn of the page from 2011 to 2012 makes for this Florida State basketball team. Highlights of Florida State whipping the Auburn Tigers coming up in just a moment. Welcome back to the Leonard Hamilton Show presented by AT&T. And Coach, as we make the change from 2011 to 2012, let me say Happy New Year. And what a difference the calendar made, huh? We take on a very good Auburn team that was 10-3 on Wednesday night at the Tucker Center. And boy, oh boy, we put a whipping on them.
Well, we went through a period of the season last year when I didn't feel like we were very focused and kind of accepted the fact of who we were as a team, playing to each other's strengths. Seemed as though the last two losses really woke us up and allowed us to mature tremendously. And I thought that the way we played against Auburn was a reflection of the fact that we are accepting the fact of how we have to play in order to be successful. And we're looking forward to some of the ACC competitions just to kind of see whether or not we've grown up as a team.
Seeing Xavier Gibson, a senior from Dothan, one of 6 seniors or grad students on this team, really go to work inside. He had a career night in block shots, a big night in rebounds, and Xavier Gibson with a nice fight. And Okara White now feels more comfortable where he's playing.
No doubt about that. He's a lot more effective at the forward position than he is on the perimeter. So we like to see whether or not this team can progress and still keep making improvements and find itself where we have a little bit better rotation and taking advantage of the talents that we got.
Michael Snare is going to have a career game, but Ian Miller provides double-digit scoring now off the bench, and he's a factor in Florida State's run against Auburn here.
Well, he's given us some offensive productivity the last 3 games. There's no doubt that he's getting better. Having him on the floor makes us a better basketball team. Great penetrating pitch, a great penetrating handoff there to John Kraft, who had an outstanding game, had 8 rebounds in only 14 minutes.
Career high 8 rebounds for John Kraft. I think we're going to see him put that patented baby hook in here. This is about 7 feet away now. Right-handed hook. You don't see that often in college basketball.
Well, John Kraft has a lot of ability. He's not tremendously experienced, but now you see him just gaining more and more confidence. And I think it's a result of the team moving the ball. Great ball movement, penetrate, ball reversal. This is the best ball movement we've had all year long.
Yeah, nice assist from the key. Luke Laux gets it to the shooter, and Michael Snare gets that 3-point shot to drop. Florida State on a big run. We held Auburn scoreless over about a 7-minute period here in the first half.
Well, we were on our best game defensively. We were executing offensively. Here's a great steal. Terry Wisnick, who I think is going to be an outstanding player for us, goes in for a slam.
Yeah, Terry Wisnick, a true freshman, wears number 31. He's from North Carolina.
Here's the play that we work on a lot in practice, right there toward the end of the game, and there we have David Dulcus on the baseline with his patented three-point jump shot that went in for us right as we ended the first half.
50 points in the first half, Coach. We were clicking on all cylinders.
No doubt. Great ball movement, great ball reversals, and then we knocked down our shots. Whenever you move the ball like that, you have a better opportunity to get high percentage shots, and that's what happened in this game. 9
steals and 10 blocks, and defense leads to offense. Luke Laux is sort of going to patent that under scoop layup thing there from the right side.
Well, when you're moving the ball, you create gaps, open up opportunities, passing lines and driving lines for your teammates and for yourself, and that's what happened in this particular game.
2 of Bernard James' 4 points, but he also had 8 rebounds to lead the Noles.
Great tip in. We haven't just being aggressive. Michael was extremely aggressive in this game. I thought we realized we had a lot to prove. We had not played very well 2 or 3 games in a row. Our guys wanted to redeem themselves. We want our fans to be proud of us. Great ball movement, good decision. First time Antoine Spacer had an opportunity to get in and show what he's capable of doing. That's the first time the ball touches his hand and he knocks down his patented jump shot.
Sophomore freshman scored back-to-back baskets, a triple by Ian Miller there, Coach. And Antoine, a basket he's going to remember.
No doubt about that. He'll always remember the first basket that he scored in a game in the Donald Tucker Center.
And against an Auburn Tiger team that came in 10-3, and Coach, we led it by 34 points at halftime. They never got within 28 points of Florida State in the second half.
Well, we were really playing good basketball, shot a high percentage from the free throw line as well as overall. We didn't shoot well from the three-point line, but we'll take that. We had a lot of steals, a lot of blocks. More than anything else, we played with a tremendous amount of intensity. We had excellent ball movement. We made the extra pass. We took care of the ball for the most part. Showed a tremendous amount of improvement.
And if I had a telestrator and could circle that 84% free throw shot that we just had on the stat sheet there, 84%, 10 of 10 by Michael Snare in that ballgame.
I like to spread some of that percentage around some of the other games.
Go back to UConn, go back to Harvard, go back to the Princeton game. Yeah, that'd be great if we could do it. Well, can't do that. Florida State takes care of business, beats Auburn, a team that's always caused FSU problems, but we took care of them at home at the Tucker Center. Coach, before we step aside for a commercial break, just a comment, nearly 8,000 fans, the holiday season here, students were back, but a great crowd to see Florida State take on Auburn and beat them soundly.
For them to come out and be a part of the game, give us that energy, hopefully that's our team's way of saying thank you for your support.
Non-conference play is over. Up next, it is 16 grueling games against the Atlantic Coast Conference. We'll take a look ahead in just a moment. We promised to look ahead, and here we go. A look ahead for Florida State basketball presented by Fresh from Florida Gulf Seafood. Schedule makers unkind to us, Coach. We go on the road for our first 2 ACC games. Clemson first, then at Virginia Tech.
Well, Gene, I believe we need these types of challenges to find ourselves. Going on the road in the ACC is always difficult. There's no doubt that the way the schedule makers have put the position they put us in will be challenging. But I like to see what we're made of. I like to see how we're going to perform in these challenging situations.
Our first 4 games, we have 2 on the road, then 2 at home. They're Saturday, Tuesday games, ironically. And speaking about Saturday games, after the 2 road games, guess who's coming to dinner and coming to the Donald L. Tucker Center? It's the North Carolina Tar Heels, Coach, and ESPN Game Day will make its first visit to the Tucker Center.
Well, we're excited about the possibility of playing that game. We can't talk a whole lot about it right now because we got those other games ahead of us, but we're excited that Game Day has decided to come to Tallahassee, and we're looking forward to the opportunity.
Yeah, last year it went right down to the buzzer. As I recall, a guy by the name of Harrison Barnes broke our hearts with a 3-point shot there at the very end. We had a chance to upset North Carolina a year ago. Coach, good luck against Clemson, our first ACC game, and that's always a tough test at Littlejohn.
Always a tough place for us to play, but all ACC games are tough in our ACC conference.
Happy New Year, Coach, and I can't wait till ACC play.
Thank you very much.
It's Clemson, Florida State, and if you're watching here on Saturday, that game is a little later on today, and then next Tuesday we play play on the road at Virginia Tech. That is the Leonard Hamilton Show presented by AT&T for today, our very first program. We appreciate your support of Florida State basketball, and we'll see you right here next week. This has been the Leonard Hamilton Show presented by AT&T. Sponsored by AT&T. Get it faster with 4G. Rethink possible. Coke Zero. Enjoy a refreshing jump shot to the taste buds. An icy cold Coke Zero. Fresh from Florida Gulf Seafood. Proud sponsor of the Florida State Seminoles. And by SunTrust, the official bank of the Florida State Seminoles.